Yo, 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 everybody. This is Brandon. I am here for episode 6 of the Weird Science Marvel Comics Sales and Solicits podcast. We're going to switch things up here, do it a little bit of a different format so I don't bore myself to tears, just kind of reading solicits and sales verbatim, from statistics or whatever. So I'm going to give you a little taste of that here. I want to let you guys let me know how you like it. So if you prefer the old way where you hear everything, let me know. I will do it for you. Otherwise, this new format kind of squeezes the best of both worlds in, whereas I will kind of recap 10 of the most interesting notes I pulled out of the solicits. And then we're going to go through the top 10 as far as books go in terms of, I'm sorry, top 20 as far as books go in terms of Marvel sales and how they sold compared to the previous month. So kind of what I was doing previously, but just not every single title. Like I'm not going to go all the way down to the books that are selling, 6,000 copies. And just kind of give you a snippet of their bestsellers and where they stand. So we're going to start that off here right now, and I'm going to start with the sales. And my reasoning for that is just basically because the sales were going back in time and the solicits were going forward in time. So I'll recap how the previous things did before I will go over how the new things coming out and what to look forward to there. So we're going to start with Marvel's #1 book of the month of February. That's where we left off sales here. Still waiting on the March numbers to come out. So this was number 11 in the series. This was the #4 selling overall title for that month. And it was a big jump as far as, sales for the Venom book goes. It sold 84,904 copies. It was a difference of 26,081 from the previous month in terms of copies shipped to stores. I tried to get, some research into what the reason for that jump was. And Simon seemed to point to some sort of a specific variant that came out along with this titled issue. So, if that's the reason for the jump, that's the reason for the jump. But good for Venom. It was the best-selling Marvel title of the month of February. Coming in at #2 was Amazing Spider-Man #15. #6 overall for the month in terms of, comic books sold to comic shops pertaining to all companies. 15 in the series, $3.99 book, 71,407 copies. Dip of 20,290 from the previous month, and I think that was a Williams variant, a John Williams variant. So, that'll do that. Or I'm sorry, not John Williams, Campbell variant. So, that's he gets I think every third or fourth issue he does a variant for Spider-Man. So that's been the reason for that's fluctuation. That's kind of usually where it about stands. Somewhere around there, maybe a little lower as of late since Spencer's really settled into his run. The third and fourth selling Marvel titles, as far as popularity goes for that month, were Uncanny X-Men, number 11 and 12 in that series, with 12 beating out 11 just slightly. 12 sold 68,636 copies, and number 11 sold 66,962. Both were up from the previous month. So 11 actually increased its sales by 14,597. So people picking it up after Age of X-Men ended. And then that pretty much remained steady with a few more copies going out to shops, another 1,674 for issue 12 within that same month. And those were the 7th and 9th overall selling comics, respectively, for that month, with number 11 being a $7.99 book. So, it is pretty much higher on the dollar value chart than number 9, I'm sure. I did not do dollar value numbers this week. Let me know. Shout out in the comments if you want those numbers added back into the scheme of things here. Then we're going to move on to the first issue of Avengers No Road Home, rounding out the top 10 overall as far as books sold, at number 5 for Marvel. It's #1 in the series, of $4.99 book, 64,505 to start things off there. So no comparison to the previous month, being a #1 issue there. And then we have the second issue of Spider-Man that came out in the month of February. and that was Spider-Man number 16, number 11 overall on the charts, number 6 for Marvel. 64,197 copies of that book pushed out. $4.99 title, 7,210 less than the 15th numbered issue within the same month. So a little bit of dip for Spider-Man within that same month. That's an 11% drop in the same month. So, I guess comic shop owners thinking maybe people weren't going to pick up the increased price tag issue there. And I forgot to go over these percentage changes here. So I'll run down the top 4 real quick, since the 5th issue was a number 1. Venom increased 31% from the previous month. Amazing Spider-Man number 15 went down 28% from the previous month. Uncanny X-Men's first issue went up 21% from the previous month, and then another 2% within the same month, bringing us to Amazing Spider-Man number 16, which dipped 11% in the same month, as I mentioned already. We move on to number 7 Marvel book for the month, number 13 overall. That is Daredevil first issue, $4.99 book, 61,566 copies. I mean, I don't really know. I didn't look at history of Daredevils and relaunches, so I'm not sure if you'd consider that a success or a failure. 61,000 to start for Daredevil doesn't seem too hot, though. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. It's a wild shot in the dark. Wolverine Infinity Watch, this Infinity Watch story that will not end. This was the first issue in that mini series, number 8 seller for Marvel of the month, 14th overall. That was a 61,123 issues went out to shops. And then we get on the back of that, the 9th best-selling comic of the month, The Return of Wolverine, 17th overall. The close of that miniseries, issue number 5, a $4.99 book, sold 59,313 to shops, 753 more than the previous month, at a 1.26% increase. This rounds out Marvel's top 10 of the month with Fantastic Four, number 20 overall, as far as shipped to comic shops, 7th issue in the series, $3.99 book. 55,375 copies shipped out to shops, 11,792 less than the previous month. That is a 21.29% drop in sales. And then we bring ourselves to the 11th and 12th books. As far as popularity in Marvel's lineup, in terms of sales go, 23rd and 24th overall, and that is Avengers issues number 14 and 15. So pretty steady seller here. Issue 14 sold 48,887, while 15 sold 48,050. So 3,540 less than the previous month was the first issue, 7% drop. And then the next issue that came out that month dropped an additional 837 copies, another 2% down. So about a 10% drop for Avengers at this point in time, on the way into War of the Realms. That brings us to the 13th most popular book in Marvel's lineup for February, 25th overall, Savage Sword of Conan, number 1 issue of that series. 47,420 copies shipped out to shops for a $4.99 title. And that's well under the first issue of the other Conan series that came out in January. So, it's technically the Conan B book, so I wouldn't expect sales to be as high. But yeah, that's where that one comes in to start things, so nothing to compare it to from the previous month. Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 2, 14th overall bestseller, 30th in terms of comparison to the entire lineup, comic book lineup as a whole. $3.99 issue, 43,662 copies sent out to stores, 61,254 copies less than its debut in January, 140% drop in terms of sales. So yeah, big drop from issue 1 to issue 2 in that series. I'm not sure if that's too big or not. I'm a bad judge of those things. Simon seems to kind of know his history as far as these sales numbers go a little better. I guess it would be good to compare it to the previous Guardians of the Galaxy series, which I did not do my homework and find out. So maybe next month I'll dig all that up. That rounds out our top 15 here with Age of X-Men, Marvelous X-Men. First issue in that series, 31st In terms of overall popularity and sales, 42,021 copies, nothing to compare it to the previous month. And then we move on to The Immortal Hulk, issue number 13 in that series, a $3.99 book. 16th in Marvel's lineup in terms of popularity, 32nd overall. 40,496 copies shipped out to shops. Pretty steady seller as it has been, only 835 less than the previous month, so a 2% drop. Star Wars, issue number 61, 17th in Marvel's lineup, 33rd overall. 40,483 copies going out to shops, 1,172 less than the previous month, a 2.89% drop in terms of sales. Bringing us to the 18th book, which is Thor number 10, 34th overall. $3.99 title, 39,450 copies sent out to shops, 4,569 less than the previous month. That is 12% less, or about 11.5. We'll say, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt there. Less than the previous month. Captain America would be Marvel's 19th best-selling book in terms of sales to shops, 35th overall, number 8 in the series, 38,651, a 2,688 shipping decrease from the previous month, a 6.95% drop. Hulk Fireens, I know Aaron's very happy about this, rounds out the top 20. I did a little research on this one, so some interesting stats about to come down. 36 overall. This was the number 1 issue of the series, a $4.99 book. 38,477 copies shipped out to shops. 23,851 more than Weapon H number 12 to conclude the series that led into this. A 61% boost, so we'll see how number 2 does. But that's, what I thought to compare it to. I probably should have done Weapon H number 1. Maybe, which I know is a pretty big seller, but yeah, I thought this was probably a more fair comparison, give you a better idea of who's actually reading it, and then, all the people that got sucked into a number 1, possibly because Wolverine's face is on the title. I don't imagine it's because of Weapon H's face, but I could be wrong. So that'll wrap up the top 20 in terms of sales for Marvel for the month. And yeah, let me know how you guys, just prefer me talking about the top 20 there. If I missed any books you'd like to hear about, I will definitely, add that specific book for next month. If there was something you feel like was important, I might have neglected. But I figured the top 20 would be a good sense of, Marvel's best sellers to shops and where they stand right now and what that lineup would look like. And we're going to move on to the second part of things, which is the June solicits. And again, these are going to be kind of like 10 tidbits of news coming out for Marvel's lineup in June, and not necessarily a rundown of every single title, which is, again, this is ending the War of the Realms this month and going to be a very tie-in heavy month. So it might be something you could look into if your title is tying in. It's something you might want to take a break from for a couple issues. But we're going to start things off with War of the Realms itself. That is issue 6 of 6, concluding the series this month. Jason Aaron and Russell Dauterman are the creative team, writer and art respectively. The world-shattering conclusion of the War of the Realms. The tides begin to turn as unexpected allies appear in a twist that will shake the heavens. Michaela's allies are faltering at last before the might of all Earth's heroes, but the Dark Elf King has one final trick, and it's got a venomous bite. Get it? Hint, hint, hint. Out of options, the God of Thunder makes a sacrifice that will leave him forever changed. But will it be enough? And what heroes may fall in his wake? Midgard's fate is sealed as Jason Aaron's years-long saga comes to an epic conclusion that's going to be 56 pages and a $5.99 book. Second tidbit of news I pulled out of these solicits was Black Cat getting her own solo series. First issue coming out in June. Jed McKay is going to be writing Travel Foreman, taking over art duties. The Black Cat is back and starting in her first ever ongoing series. Felicia Hardy has a taste of the finer things in life and a certain set of skills that can get her into any mission, vault, or museum to procure said finer things. But due to her actions in Amazing Spider-Man, Felicia is not only on the run from the police, but also by the New York Thieves Guild. Thieves? I've never heard of that word before because it does not exist. New York Thieves Guild and their boss, Odessa Drake. So we saw a little of her in Spider-Man. The high-octane heist, climactic chases, and twist after twist that will keep you on the edge of your seat like a cat on its perch. In this issue, find out a secret from Cat's past in a bonus story that sets a foundation for the future. All this and all new Marvel Meow short story by Naal Fuji, 40 pages, $4.99. So yeah, Black Cat's debut, that should be decent. Silver Surfer #1 also. He's getting a a fresh #1. This is only going to be a mini series of #5. It's labeled here in the solicit. So Donnie Cates is writing. Trad Moore is on the art and color duties. Spinning out of Guardians of the Galaxy #1, almost the entire galaxy's defenders have been blown through a black hole, including the Silver Surfer. But the story doesn't end there. In order to fight back the Oblivions, Surfer will have to fight to save his own soul and not lose himself to the void. Follow the Sential of the Spaceways. Oh, such a weird sentence. Follow the Sential of the Spaceways on a journey that will change him forever. From superstars Donnie Cates, Venom, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Trad Moore, all new Ghost Rider and Venom, 32 pages, $3.99. So yeah, Silver Surfer getting a miniseries. I'm excited about that, especially with Donnie Cates writing. I will check that out. Even though I haven't been too hot on this Guardians of the Galaxy start to the series, it's gotten off to a little bit of a slow beginning. I'm still going to stick with it for now, at least through the first arc, see if it goes anywhere I enjoy. But yeah, Silver Surfer sounds cool. I always give Donnie Cates at least an arc to hook me here. And then we're moving on to The Incredible Hulk, Last Call #1. Peter David, Dale Keown. Hulk Legends. Peter David and Dale Keown reunite. In his 12-year stint on The Incredible Hulk, Peter David redefined the Green Goliath for new generations of fans and creators. Artist Dale Known drew some of the run's most beloved and influential issues. Ugh, can't read today. Sorry, people. Now the pair return to their incredible collaboration for a special oversized one-shot issue. Bruce Banner is tired of being the Hulk. Heck, he's tired of being. But just when he's about to lose all hope, a miracle occurs, a fight worthy of the Incredible Hulk. So yeah, that sounds like a cool one-shot, so I threw that in here. Peter David's been kind of doing a lot of throwback Marvel stories of late. He's got the symbiote Spider-Man story coming back with, a tale of Spider-Man's past. That sounds pretty cool. I don't know if it's something I'm going to buy, but I might read that digitally. But this Hulk one sounds pretty interesting too. I like some of Peter David's Hulk stuff. Spider-Man Annual #1 featuring Spider-Ham. Jason Latour is the writer. The art team is David LaFuente and also Jason Latour. When Spider-Gwen's dimension-hopping web watch falls into the wrong hands, it's up to everyone's favorite wisecracking web slinger, the wily waddler known as Spider-Ham, to save the day. Whew, a lot of W's in that sentence. From the same creative minds that brought you into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Gwen creator Jason Latour, you won't want to miss this interdimensional epic. So yes, pretty cool Spider-Ham one-shot coming out there. If you like Spider-Ham in Spider-Verse, the movie, or any of the Spider-Verse or Spider-Geddon books he's been in, that should be interesting. And then I have, speaking of Spider-Man, a couple other Spider-Man titles that grab my attention here. Amazing Spider-Man 24, not normally going to just throw regular solicits on here of normal issues, but this one is post-hunted storyline and possibly setting up the mysterious bandaged figure we keep seeing. So this is Amazing Spider-Man #24 coming out in June. Nick Spencer is on the writing duties. Ryan Otley back on art and colors, all leading up to Nick Spencer's landmark 25th issue. One issue away from 25, and the chickens are coming home to roost. Who is the mysterious bandaged figure who seems to be in every shadow, and what does he want with Spider-Man? This issue won't answer all your questions, but it will answer some that will drop your jaw. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's what I've been waiting for in the Amazing Spider-Man as of late. And yeah, it looks like we'll finally be getting that in issue 24 after all this time. And then one last one for Spider-Man Reptilian Rage #1. It's written by Ralph Macchio, art by Christopher Allen, cover by Todd Nauck. Peter Parker's got a real shot, a chance for a spot in the competitive Empire State University program as a high school student. Nothing's going to keep him from his goal unless the Parker luck strikes again. and a crime boss and a crime boss's interference with the experiment of Dr. Kirk Connors threatens to do just that, as an unexpected run-in heralds the return of the deadly lizard. But if Spider-Man is going to save the day, does that mean Peter Parker will have to sacrifice his future? A tale of great power and the cost of the responsibility in the mighty Marvel manner. So yeah, a lizard Spider-Man story one-shot seems set in the past. That might be pretty cool. I don't know if you're not digging the current arc of Spider-Man, maybe some of this throwback stuff for the Peter David and Ralph Macchio here are doing might grab your attention a little more. So I thought that was pretty cool. I threw that in there. That's going to be just a one-shot too. Nothing else you got to follow beyond that. We're moving on to Guardians of the Galaxy annual #1. This is written by Donny Cates, Al Ewing, Teenie Howard, Zach Thompson, and Lonnie Nadler. Art team of Yildiray Sinar, Ibrahim Mustafa, Felipe Andrade, and more, covered by Giuseppe Camuncoli. Since the Black Order's attack on the galaxy's greatest defenders, the cosmos have been without its heroes. Find out what really happened to Nova, Quasar, Adam Warlock, and Darkhawk. And who better to tell this story than Cosmo, the space dog? So yeah, it sounds pretty interesting. Cosmo, the space dog, narrating that one. Woof, woof, bark, bark. Moving on here, we got 2 more tidbits left. We're going to get into a little bit of X-Men stuff. Wolverine Exit Wounds #1. That's written by Chris Claremont, Larry Hama, and Sam Keith. Art by Salvador LaRocca, Sam Keith, and more. Cover by Ryan Stegman, so that might be a selling point for some people right off the bat there. Wolverine Legends, Chris Claremont, Larry Hama, and Sam Keith reunite. He goes by many names, Patch, Weapon X, Logan, but most just call him the greatest Wolverine. Join Marvel's greatest storytellers for 3 brand new untold tales of X-Men's deadliest member. Blood, Broads, and Blades. You asked for it, bub. So it's a $4.99 Wolverine one-shot written by some of the classic creators that have handled him. And that actually sounds pretty cool. I think I'm going to get that one personally myself. And then we wrap up the awesome story of X-Men Grand Design Extinction #2. It's going to completely conclude the X-Men Grand Design Experiment by Ed Piskor, which I have thoroughly enjoyed. Some of the, best X-Men continuity tracing I've ever really read through. All done with a pretty cool art style. Art and writing duties all covered by Ed Piskor. It's here the final chapter of Marvel's best-selling prestige series X-Men Grand Design. Out with the old and in with the blue and gold as the X-Men enter the radical 90s. Revisit in numerous classic storylines like the return of Jean Grey, the trial of Magneto, the Extinction Agenda, and many, many more, with appearances by Jubilee, Gambit, and the Reavers, brought to life by the multi-hyphenate master of grand fiction himself, Ed Piskor. 48 pages, $5.99, and yeah, I could not recommend that series enough. I have all the issues individually. I might, get a giant hardcover if they ever put it all together in one big book. But yeah, until that point, the individual issues are perfectly fine for me. I've read through them a couple times each. I really enjoy them, and that's why I'm a little hesitant to say sometimes that I'm only a Wolverine fan. I'm not an X-Men fan, because that's like the X-Men stuff I enjoy. And yeah, it's a lot of the same stuff I always complain about of as far as the story goes and what they're doing. But that's just a good way to hand it to your buddies, and you want to know what 40 years of X-Men history is like, here, read this. So also kind of cool to reference it for your own past, and there's footnotes in the back and everything. So that's been one of my favorite comics going the last year or so. And yeah, I couldn't recommend that enough. But yeah, that's going to be the end of episode 6 of Sales and Solicits. So a little different format this time. Let me know how you guys enjoy that. Giving you a little bit of the best of both worlds, get you excited for some things instead of kind of going through the doldrums of every single title and a lot of it not of interest to everybody. So let me know what you think of this in the comments on Patreon, or hit me up on Twitter. I'm Brandon, and you can find me at bmer3660, and I also hop on the Weird Science Marvel Comics Twitter. That's at WSMarvelComics. But yeah, guys, like I said, you know where to find me. Until next time, peace.